Welcome to the Show Day Podcast 2018 DCI Season Wrap Up. Throughout this past season, 2019, the DCI Tour, I have come to you every day on this Show Day podcast, starting all the way back in, I want to say late May is when I published the first one, and it was the season preview, the first of those. That was the cadet season preview, and then I just kept publishing those and kind of lead into the season. Then once the season started, brought you the headlines every day from the competitive side of things. Also tried to offer my own take on the competitive races, on what I thought of different shows. Today, I'm going to wrap that all up. So I'm going to take one final look at the 2019 season competitively, mainly what we saw last week for finals week. I'm also going to kind of look at some other things just to wrap up this season. I did do the first annual Show Day Podcast Awards. If you voted in that, I'm going to be revealing the winners here in just a few minutes. So, really, I have a lot to get to here, and I'm going to start it all off now with the finals recap, or the finals week recap, rather, for the 2019 season. So, finals week recap. I do just want to put one thing out there real quick, and that is that I am sorry for the lack of content from last week. Traveling between these different shows, it's kind of next to impossible to kind of put this together, this slideshow, and then publish it and record it while I'm traveling in the car without any internet capability. So I do apologize for that. I did get out Monday and Tuesday during travel on my phone, and that's why it was just audio only those days, but it was kind of hard to get this done from Wednesday to Saturday, so I do apologize for that, but now that is why I'm kind of putting this out here, kind of just to recap the whole season. So, DCI, or starting finals week last week, DCI Open Class World Championship prelims and finals in Marion, Indiana. Very nice venue. I was at this one on Tuesday, as I said. Very nice venue. I can see why the Bluecoats keep going back there every year for spring training. Really a fan-friendly venue. And also, I think it suits the performers very well, too. And there's definitely logistical things of why they would move here. It's closer to Indy. It's not in the central time zone like Michigan City was, where kind of everybody kind of gets thrown off a little bit. You can kind of just stay in that one time zone, and there's many other things geographically, logistically, that really just this venue is better for open class championships. So, prelims for Spartans, they came out on top. They have been the open class front runner really all season. They did win prelims. After them, we saw Gold, Legend, Southwind, Louisiana Stars, 7th Regiment, River City Rhythm, the Guardians, Golden Empire, Shadow, Colt Cadets, and the Raiders make finals. They were the top 12. They sent towards Heatwave. Very thrilling performances. But they did not make that top 12. But as I said, very thrilling performances, and they actually did get to perform an exhibition performance before the finals contest last Tuesday. So, after that, looking at last Tuesday, open class finals, Spartans coming out on top. Gold medal performance for them in 81.05 was their final score for the season. Congratulations to the Spartans on their 2019 DCI Open Class World Championship. Legends, they came home in second with the silver medal. Gold comes home in third with the bronze medal once again. Louisiana Stars, they passed Southwind on finals night at 75.85 to a 75.638. 7th Regiment finishing 6th. Guardians, they jumped River City Rhythm in the final contest of the season. Guardians in 7th, River City Rhythm in 8th, Golden Empire in 9th, Shadow in 10th, Colt Cadets in 11th, and the Raiders finished their season in 12th. After last week's open class finals, performers either went to rehearse for another day or did participate in the DCI Performers Showcase. Congratulations to all performers and ensembles that did choose to perform in that performer showcase. Not an easy task, and I think some people kind of do overlook that. Those performers that are those marching members that are giving up that are performing in there, trying to piece together what I'm trying to say, that do perform in the performer showcase are giving up time during the season, not rehearsal time, but rather meal time or free time throughout the season, that they are giving up in order to not master but get as close to or close as they can to mastering those pieces to go out there and put on a great show for the audience in the performer showcase. So I think some people do overlook what they are doing, what those performers are doing, but they do come out and perform a very thrilling contest every year for the audience. So after Wednesday, then Thursday, open or World Championship prelims rather, in Indianapolis at the Big House. Bluecoats, they came out on top in prelims, a 97.65 to a 97.55 for the Blue Devils. Vanguard was in third, Crown was in fourth. They were closing rapidly, just 3/10 between Vanguard and Crown. The Cavaliers and the Boston Crusaders. Cavaliers got a penalty on prelims night that drew them very close to the Boston Crusaders. Blue Knights, they were 7th. Blue Knights 8th. Cadets 9th. Mandarins in 10th. Phantom Regiment, they passed the Crossmen in 11th, and the Crossmen were 12th. Just outside of the finals cutoff, just outside of that was Spirit of Atlanta. Less than 2 points out. They would have had to do something miraculous to kind of push in, but they were 13th after prelims. Pacific Crest, they jumped all the way up to 14th. Best finish ever for them. High score, high placement. Great stuff happening at that core after this season. The Academy, Colts, Madison Scouts, Troopers, Spartans, Genesis, Legends, Gold, Music City, Jersey Surf, and Seattle Cascades all made the cutoff. Going into semifinals, Louisiana Stars finished the season in 26th overall, Southwind in 27th, River City Rhythm 28th, and the Guardians 7th Regiment, Golden Empire, Shadow, Colt Cadets, Lace Centaurs, Raiders, and Heatwave was how the 26 through 36 placements came out of prelims. Moving on to semifinals, second to last show of the season, and remember, only 12 make the cutoff. So, semifinals, Blue Devils in first, a 97.7, Bluecoats in second, a 97.55. Santa Clara Vanguard, they finished third in semifinals. They held that spot once more, a 96.325 to a 96.025, almost identical margins between Thursday and Friday night for Vanguard and Crown. Cavaliers, they didn't get the penalty in semifinals. Rather, the Boston Crusaders did. So, the Cavaliers in fifth after semifinals, a 95.213. Boston was sixth, rather, a 93.413. Blue Knights 7th, Blue Stars 8th, the Cadets, Mandarins, Crossmen, they once again passed Phantom Regiment. So those 12 corps that I just went over, Blue Devils down to Phantom Regiment, were the corps that did make finals. Sitting just outside that once again, Spirit of Atlanta in 13th, Pacific Crest, highest placement ever, highest score ever, great season for them, score an 85.35, coming within 3/10 of Spirit of Atlanta's final total of the season. Great job to Pacific Crest. Academy in 15th, Colts in 16th, Madison Scouts in 17th, Troopers in 18th, Spartans in 19th, Genesis in 20th, Legends finished 21st, Gold in 22nd, Music City in 23rd, Surf in 24th, and the Seattle Cascades finished the season in 25th, making a return to semifinals once again. Final show of the season, World Championship Finals, and this is a thrilling contest every year. The 12 best drum corps from around the country in the DCI circuit come to play at this event every year, and it is the most thrilling and the most fun to watch. Even better than the regionals, in my opinion. So, how would they finish? Well, as Brent Crocker put it, in second place, the score of 98.238, blue coats. And as I heard him say that, or just as everyone heard him say that, you could hear the eye roll, I guess you could say, by many fans, but also at the same time the cheer by many others. There is a clear divide between drum corps fans and who they think should have won this 2019 World Championship. There are many groups that people are fitting themselves into. There's the people that can settle with the result, which are, in my opinion, the best fans. There's also the people that kind of we're cheering for one or the other but can settle with the result, or there's like the people that are just totally out there, like making up conspiracy theories and stuff. And really I don't get why people are doing that. I mean, I understand the Blue Devils have won 19 championships. Yes, that's a lot of championships, but they've won it because they figured out what's expected of the corps and what they can accomplish. Kind of just doing the same thing but doing it better each and every year. I mean, you think about every year they've won. Think about Ghostlight. Think about Metamorph. Think about Ink. Think about Fellini-esque. Think about other shows. They all fit into this theatrical, Blue Devil-like production, and they just do what they do, and they do it better than everybody else. So, really, that's kind of my message to all the people that are saying, well, why did the Blue Devils win? Why did the Blue Coats lose? And the Blue Coats didn't lose. They finished second. Do you know how many corps in this top 12 wish they would have finished second? I think people definitely need to just kind of take a step back on this heated fight, I guess you could say, between people who think Blue Devils should have won, who think Blue Coats should have won, who there's so many different ideas that are being passed around that really I've lost track of it. But nonetheless, Blue Devils 19th World Championship, 98.325, just 3/10 behind where Santa Clara Vanguard finished last season. I know that's even worse than like comparing scores across shows in the same season. Comparing scores across shows from different seasons, that's even worse. But still, I like to look at how these corps finish compared to each other at the end of each season, like from year to year. So Blue Devils, they win the World Championship. Blue Coats in second, Vanguard in third, Crown in fourth. They couldn't get Vanguard, but very close, less than a tenth, less than half a tenth, actually. The Cavaliers in fifth, Boston in sixth, Blue Knights in seventh, Blue Stars in eighth, Cadets in ninth, Mandarins in 10th, Crossman in 11th, and Phantom Regiment in 12th. Very enjoyable shows, as I've said, but congratulations to all the performers, and specifically the Blue Devils, on their 19th World Championship. So, finals week's over, unfortunately. Saturday night, it was the end, and that means now we take a look into what the off season will be. And I do just want to lay out kind of some things that I think not get overlooked, but that are kind of put in the rearview mirror, because I think, and I get it. I mean, there's other things happening between drum corps seasons, between August and June, but there is stuff that does happen in the off season. And I'm just going to kind of be listing these off the top of my head right now, and just the different things that happen in no particular order. Corps from top to bottom, I mean, I'm not sure the Blue Devils definitely have, or necessarily have, staff changes to make, but From the top of the world class division down to the bottom of the open class division, there's staff changes that will happen. Whether this is some course cleaning house, as some may call it, or whether this is some course maybe just replacing small things like choreographers or other things. Really, the off season is when the most important work happens. Sure, it all comes out on the field then in June through August, but in the off season, staff changes are made. Performers audition for next season. Obviously, we also see on the more admin side of things with each corps and also DCI as a whole, when corps will meet in September, then once again in January to make the 2020 schedule, put corps in shows, and really just decide how the season will go. Also, one other thing with each individual corps, also the design aspect of things. And many corps, I know, listening to designer interviews at the beginning of the season, one common thing that's said is we had this idea last August, or we had this idea 2 years ago, or in the case of the Bluecoats this year, we had this idea 10, 20 years ago, and now we're putting it into an actual production this season. So design, staff changes, performer auditions, performer spots being taken, scheduling for the course, just so much happens during the off season. Hard to keep up with, but and I'll get to this a little later. Throughout the off season, I will be kind of doing a podcast here and there about what we're seeing in the off season schedules. Also, one other thing on here is BOA, WGI, and all the other circuits are happening. Marching band and winter groups are performing, so I'll kind of be covering that a few times. So, fun stuff happens in the off season. It's where all the hard work takes place for all the performers and staff, and then obviously when the shows hit the field, June, July, August, that is when the hard work kind of pays off in not necessarily placement, but the experience of everyone involved. Also in the off season, I guess you could say this, don't forget about DCA. DCA still has a few weeks left. This Saturday there's two shows, one New Jersey, one in North Carolina. Then next weekend still some shows going on, and then it's championship time in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. So will the Reading Buccaneers take home yet another championship trophy, or will maybe a corps like the Atlanta Corvettes get in there and challenge them? We haven't seen those two go head to head. It'll be interesting to see how DCA will end up at the end of this season. And one thing with DCA is performers from DCA do end up in DCI. The amount of performers that are either in an open class corps or a DCA corps, and then go on to the top of the line world class scores are the number of those situations are high, and really you see a lot of performers doing that, and they get their start in open class or in DCA, and then kind of ride that into the world class division. So DCA definitely not something to forget about. Definitely a crucial part of the drum corps landscape. Next up, the Show Day Podcast 2019 DCI Awards, and this is something I had posted to Twitter, also some other platforms over the past week for you guys to vote on, you, the fans, the listeners of mine, to vote on just to kind of wrap up this season. So 12 categories. I'm going to go over the winners right now. So the favorite drill move category, the nominees for this one, or the candidates that I have chosen. I chose the candidates you voted on the winner. So, candidates, favorite drill move, Carolina Crown Company front. The Cavaliers' serpentine move, where they maneuver through the pipes behind their big prop on side one. Mandarin's 8x8 block, where really they just make that 8x8 block of performers on side one, and also the Blue Stars block turning in the middle of the field. The winner of the Favorite Drill Move award with 52.2% of the vote is the Carolina Crown Company front. Next up, the Favorite Percussion Award, Carolina Crown, Santa Clara Vanguard, Blue Devils, and the Cadets I chose as the candidates for this. Coming in first place in the vote, Santa Clara Vanguard with 59.1% of the vote. Favorite Hornline Award. Nominees, Carolina Crown, the Bluecoats, Blue Devils, and the Boston Crusaders. The winners with 65.2% of the vote are Carolina Crown. The Favorite Color Guard Award, and 4 nominees here. We've got the Santa Clara Vanguard, the Blue Stars, the Mandarins, and the Boston Crusaders. Coming in first place in this category with a whopping 73.9% of the vote, the Boston Crusaders. Fifth award, the favorite uniform design. Really, this one's open to your own opinion, but the 4 uniform designs I liked the most this year were the Bluecoats, Carolina Crown, the Colts, and the Cadets. The winner of the favorite uniform design award is the Bluecoats, 65% of the vote. Favorite social media account, and this one was very close at the top. The Cavaliers, Mandarins, the Cadets, and Santa Clara Vanguard I nominated for this one, coming out on top with 50% of the vote, and even 50%, the Cavaliers, and in second place, not far behind, the Santa Clara Vanguard. Favorite drum major, and I'm glad that this one hasn't turned into too much of a, well, what do you mean by favorite drum major? And really, when I say this, is just like the intensity of their performance, and really just different things, or it's open to your own opinion or interpretation of what this award means. It's the only one on here that really it's up to you what you're judging the performers on. So this is one of the few individual awards, but the nominees for this award were the Blue Knights, the Crossmen, the Cadets, and the Cavaliers. Going home with 63.6% of the votes. The favorite drum major award goes to the Crossmen and Crossmen drum major Lydia Marshall. Feature Performer Award, favorite feature performer, 4 nominees, the Boston Crusaders, the David character, Blue Devils violinist in the show, the Mandarin's intruder, or the Mandarin's featured dancer. With 54% of the vote, the Boston Crusaders' David character wins favorite feature performer. Favorite moment in a show. This one's always one of my favorites to think about, because there's a lot of great moments occurring in these shows, and these 4 I thought were my favorite, but watching these shows even more last week, I thought of a few more, but these are the 4 I put on here. So the 4, first up, the Bluecoats' Hey Blue or Hey Jude at the end of their show, where the crowd sing along. Really a great moment on the season. The Blue Devils, where they use the shoes as instruments, the drum line picking up the shoes and doing that whole feature on those props. The Santa Clara Vanguard back and forth with the mellophones, where the mellophones aren't holding a note, but they're holding it for a few counts on side 2. I want to say they're over on side 2. And then the core marching along the front sideline is kind of in there. I'm sure if you've seen Vanguard's show quite a few times, you know what I'm talking about. And then also the Boston Crusaders conquest shots at the very end of their show. The favorite moment in the show award goes to the Blue Devils' shoes as instruments. Next up, third to final, the favorite props, and this again is one of those that's open to interpretation, whether it's usage or whether it's you like the design of the prop. So my four nominees for this one: the Boston Crusaders Plinko boards, as they came to be known, the Cadets bridges, the Blue Stars mountain all the way over in the side two end zone, or the Santa Clara Vanguard cage props. Winner of the favorite prop award with less than 50% of the vote is the Boston Crusaders Plinko board. So definitely was a fan favorite this year. Favorite soloist, and this one I think again, whether you're judging off of what they were playing or how good they accomplished what they were trying to do, favorite soloist nominees were Santa Clara Vanguard, the trombone and baritone member, the Bluecoats trumpet in the closer, really any of those three soloists, Carolina Crown's flugelhorn in the ballad, and the Phantom Regiment mellophone in that show. So favorite soloist goes to the Bluecoats, the trumpets in the closer. And finally, the grand award here, the favorite 2019 show. And this one, lots of variety with the shows here. Everybody from some people voted for Genesis, some people voted for the Blue Devils, some people voted for just trying to find a few, Blue Knights, Blue Stars, the Carolina Crown. But the core that came out on top in the favorite show category, and as we've learned in the past week, this was everybody's favorite show of 2019, or most people's favorite show. Bluecoats 2019, the Bluecoats. So real quick, before I finish up this season wrap-up with kind of a message to my audience, congratulations to all of the performers, the staff members, the everybody, the fans, because we got to see some great shows this season. Congratulations to everyone this season on a job well done. The shows this season were thrilling, to say the least. The way they were designed, the way they were executed, we couldn't have asked for anything better as the drum corps community, and I've seen a lot of people saying excited for what 2020 brings, and indeed, I am excited for what 2020 brings. I saw something last night before filming this podcast, or taping this podcast rather, that every 5 years or so, somebody seems to nail on the head what the current trend is. And the conversation that was being had with that topic was that next year we're going to see one of these peak years where a core hits 99 or above, and we saw that with the Blue Devils in 2014. We've seen it many other times, but really just it takes some time to build upon the innovation that has happened, and then one core just nails it. A lot of cores nailed it this season. Blue Devils, with that theatrical part, the Bluecoats rather, with just a fun show, an enjoyable show, bringing smiles to the crowd's faces. Carolina Crown with just the pure classic drum corps show that they brought to the field. The Boston Crusaders, kind of the same thing with them. But really, every few years, somebody just nails the current innovative ideas on the head. And I think a lot of corps did that this year, and I think a few in particular are going to do that next season. So, congratulations once again to all of the corps on a great 2019 season. Finally, a final sign off for the season. Started this podcast at the beginning of the 2018 season. I gained some momentum last year. I learned some things from doing this, and I really just capitalized upon that this season and enjoyed doing it while I was doing throughout the season. I enjoy doing this for the fans of Drum Corps, my fellow fans that do listen to this, and really just the enjoyment of getting to talk about Drum Corps each day or close to it, and getting to analyze these scores and also these shows, these incredible productions that are put on the field every year. I want to thank my followers, listeners, subscribers, whatever you want to call yourselves, for the support of watching and everything this season. I want to thank you for that. I also want to thank the corps in general, DCI, and the participating ensembles for great shows in 2019. As I've said many times today, from the top to the bottom, a thrilling year of shows that I definitely will miss seeing, and that many people will definitely miss seeing on the field. But 2020, I'm sure, will provide more of the same, and just amazing productions by these corps. So until next time. And that next time is an uncertain, because I might have some stuff throughout this off season. I'm still floating some ideas, and also floating some newer ideas for next season of what I might want to do with this in the year to come. Until next season, I'm Drum Corps Geek, signing off for 2019. Thank you for watching this 2019 season of the Show Day podcast. Have a great off season.